I left the computer on? Huh, that's odd. Hmm, guess I'll do some research. How about right to travel in Virginia? That sounds good. Let's do that. All right, all right, all right. It is the Bad Wolf. Welcome to Wolf After Hours. Once again, I apologize for the theatrics and dramatics. It's just the way you gotta, do things and blow off a little steam, be a little crazy. Well, I am a madman in a little blue box. So let's get into it. As I mentioned, I am the Bad Wolf, and welcome to Bad Wolf. Constitutional law, private law, common law, civil law, rights, benefits, privileges, everything U.S. and U.S. of A. Let's get going. Once again, I want to thank you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Seriously, I've been saying this for how many years straight, and almost every video. You know what I haven't said in a long time? Welcome, Loves, Lovetts, Wilsons, Pickett's, Drum Ghouls, Smiths, McCoys, and all people related to me, but also special thanks out to all those people who support me in the Bad Wolf group, the Bad Wolf Pack. Thank you for going to YouTube and clicking on that join, subscribe, and supporting me monthly. I also noticed that we're now up to 71% of you guys have subscribed, but apparently there's another 30% that hasn't. If I do the numbers right, if I had that other 30%, I would be over 100,000 in my little place right here where my 100,000 silver, I think it's silver, yeah, plaque will go, and that is dedicated to you guys. So thank you for helping make my dreams come true. Yeah, so as I said, every time I write to travel in Virginia, it was thrown out there by a viewer, and I don't know, just kind of struck a chord with me because I was going to move to Virginia. I still may. I actually like the area, weather's temperament, uh, the cost of living to expense, the old houses and all that. It's kind of nice. So I may just happen to become a Virginian, a state citizen, a statesman. Virginian James, the Bad Wolf. Maybe we'll see. All right. So without further ado, well, maybe one do or two do's. Don't forget to join me on my other YouTube channel. I know you haven't joined me over there yet because I only have about 5,000 people. So I know you haven't. So at the end of this video, when the icon, or whatever you guys call it these days, pops up for Bad Wolf Unrestricted, join me over there. That is, if you like how I get down over here on that channel, I get to be a whole lot more free and cover a whole lot more topics and expand what I already know. Hopefully, my head doesn't get any bigger because, well, it's already kind of large. That's what she said. So otherwise, jamesclovett.com is the private nationals and private citizens video only. This is not for the general public, not for public viewing or consumption. Nothing over there is going to benefit the U.S. citizen, only the national and state citizen. Ding. All right. Otherwise, you guys know about Black Side 32, still doing good. We got like 500,000 subscriber or visitors. Um, I, it's just crazy to me that people go to my sites more than my YouTube channel. I don't even know how that is. I literally do not even market that website. I've never marketed. I haven't marketed anything. So how that's trending high, I don't know. but I thank the universe and all you good people for doing what you guys do. So it's probably because of you. So thanks. And also, as much as I dislike saying this, I have to give credit where credit's due. Thanks to the trolls out there for talking about me on your channels. It has definitely drummed up extra business and viewers and subscribers. Thanks to the trolls for being in my comments because you're causing controversy and that helps my videos to go farther. So thanks. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's get into right to travel. Woo! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, share the screen if you know what I mean. If this is your first time here, hit that bell, like, and subscribe. Make yourself comfortable and welcome to the motherfucking tribe. Let's get going because the truth will not be denied. I got 5 on it. All right, all right. Oh, let's switch up the layout. Let's put me in there somewhere. All right, you shrink, get down, said no man ever. All right, so let's get up to the top here. So I asked chat. Now, you can do a Google search. You don't have to use chat for everything, but I do like to just cross-reference it after I look for myself, but it usually does a pretty good job. In this case, it did give me the short answer, and I had to tell it I want the full answer just to make sure that I know what I'm talking about. Now, remember, if this is your first time here, you guys have to understand that what I teach you guys is what the meanings of these things are on the legal level. Okay. And we also teach legal style. All right. And overstanding and topography and etymology. This is what the law department or the legal department does at corporations and municipalities, all of them that have it. This is why trolls out there are like, oh, like one guy in the comment section, he said that they don't teach the cops the law. Well, yeah, they don't. They teach them a type of law, but not the superior law. And most cops, not that there's anything wrong with most of them, except for the bad ones, but also I do say, how many bad ones do you have if the good ones do not report the bad ones? So yes, Mr. Troll who smells like Funyuns and wet couch cushions in someone's grandma's basement. Um, Understand that they don't teach the cops constitutional law. They don't teach them private law. They don't teach them common law. And you can scarf and snarf, along with some of the lawyers out there and say, oh, well, nobody uses common law. No, people actually do. We're using it even right now. Matter of fact, everything that they're doing is based on it. Your system that you're using is literally supported by common law and private law. They may call it public law, but really that whole system is considered private. You can't just walk in from Australia and say, oh, I'm part of the public now. Woo, woo, woo. I want all the benefits you guys have as U.S. citizens. Why not? Because it's private. Now, they'll let you slowly start to acclimate, but you're not all the way in. That's what I said to her. I mean, so yeah, so what ends up happening is that you have to acclimate, but you don't just jump right in. You're not all the way in. No, no Diddy. No, no Diddy. All right. So yeah, it's a PMA, a private members association that's so big it's called the public. If you could just walk in it, then it would truly be public. Anybody could join it, like a free state, free for all. But it's not. So it's just amazing how, like I said, people just they want to feel some type of way. Like they don't show any proof. Like, what did the other guy say? Somebody said, "Oh, you can't put your own code in the passport book endorsement page. They have to do it." it says nowhere in there that they are the only ones to do it. He's like, oh, the Foreign Affairs Manual is their manual. They publish that. They have internal manuals only. The Foreign Affairs Manual is a worldwide public book, so everybody, including countries, can read it and know what's in it. There's nothing hidden. It's not secret. It doesn't say for internal use only. The things that they don't want you to do, they have it clearly labeled. Use only when or only by these agents or these departments. The codes that they do not have listed the same way, like the codes above, like number 7 and number 10 on the Foreign Affairs Manual, Section 8, 8 FAM 505.209 endorsement code, clearly says it. So when I see stuff like that, I just laugh and I just go, okay, found another troll or another bot or some paid shill because they do pay people to comment like that and to attack. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, that's pretty crazy that they have a whole budget to pay people to harass you on the internet, and then they want to say that we're citizens of the S nature, but in fact, all we're doing is talking about the Constitution and our particular interpretation of these things, which we've been winning in court since day one. Okay, maybe day two. But here comes Peter Cottontail hopping down the hater trail and no proof, nothing but feeling, but yet everything I say and show jives and makes sense. Crazy, crazy work. It's crazy work these days, people. Anyway, join me for Badwolf Unrestricted, where I get to go into detail about a lot more stuff. All right. Everything I've learned is on basically on the table. We're going to talk about everything from pyramids and technology and all that good jazz, health and whatever, all good stuff. Anyway, I digress. You guys didn't come here for all of that. But if you do like to hear me talk about this kind of stuff, like a disc jockey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Join me on Bad Wolf Unrestricted. Now, without further ado, let's get back to your regularly scheduled program. So I asked it, State of Virginia, legislative code on exempt vehicles, non-resident registration. Now remember, they always call it a little bit something different in each state, but generally you're going to see the word non-resident or exempt vehicle or vehicle exemption, something of that nature. Okay. So it gave me the short answer. So I'll let it read and then I will comment. Oh, hold on. Let me share the sound before it does not cannot be heard. And then you guys are like, we couldn't hear anything. Okay. Take it away, Sam.
Short answer. Virginia law lets a non-resident drive a vehicle displaying valid out-of-state plates in Virginia for a limited time, usually up to 6 months, and there are separate short-term rules for a new resident. You generally must register within 30 days. Virginia also lists specific vehicle classes and uses that are exempt from registration or from sales/use tax. Here are the key statutes and practical takeaways.
Okay. So they gave you an overview. They basically said, all right, Virginia law, let's say non-resident drive a vehicle displaying valid out-of-state plates, okay, in Virginia. So once again, let's go over this on the legal level, the legal perception, okay, the overstanding, but we're going to let it read the first sentence or a paragraph here. It is it one sentence? Yeah, it is one sentence. Okay, the first sentence here, let's go.
Takeaways. Key Virginia Code points, plain language plus citations. A non-resident owner of a passenger car that is currently registered in the owner's home state or country and that displays those plates may operate that car in Virginia for 6 months without registering it in Virginia.
Okay, now let's break this down. Because in general, years ago when I would read this, I'd be like, oh man, every 6 months I'm gonna have to do this, I'm gonna have to do that. Because I didn't overstand what I was reading. The term here, non-resident owner. Generally, this is not you unless you declare it with an affidavit. You need proof. You need something to say, hey, as of this date, I operate in the private with a private vehicle, a pleasure vehicle or private conveyance, not using their words, because you have to show a difference in jurisdiction. But if not, what it really is that the non-resident is the trust, your irrevocable trust, based in America or some other country. So it says the non-resident owner. So you and your name, you do not want to have your name as the title of your irrevocable trust because your name is tainted. Anything underneath your name is underneath them, which is in the public. They have access to it. But a trust created as an irrevocable in the United States of America or a trust based in another country. I wonder if a planet would work. Could you say your trust is based on Mars? Could you? I don't know. Let's get crazy with the cheese whiz. A non-resident, non-res, so non-changing identity. So non-resident. So you're not, this what they're saying is a non-resident. I have not resided and entered their jurisdiction. I have not res my identity, res ident. They resed your identity, res to change, to wipe, to convert. If you reside your house, you're putting on new siding. Either you're taking off the old stuff or you're putting it on the old one, and it's a new thing. So I am not a new thing in your jurisdiction. So what I did, created an affidavit of being a non-resident owner while in my private vehicle. Ergo, I also, my irrevocable trust with a different name than mine, something not registered in their system that they cannot find registered to the state or even to the government, that entity then becomes the owner of my private conveyance. Now, here, the term passenger car is commercial. They're calling it a passenger car because you're driving. If they use the word drive anywhere in here, that denotes commercial activity. So you don't have to freak out because though you are a non-resident now that you know how to claim to be one properly, and your entity, who's the real owner of the vehicle, but you're not driving a passenger car. This is commercial. They regulate everything public and commercial that is currently registered. Okay. You can argue that out. It's their word. They want to see that it's owned somewhere. So we're going to say that your vehicle is private, but now it was owned by you, but now it's owned by your trust. So it is registered to where? Your trust. It says registered in the owner's home state. Notice here that the word state is in lowercase lettering. This means all of the states, essentially. It means the organic, the de facto, the corporate, the state of mind, the state of you creating a thing. So what they're saying here is they're trying to almost pull you back into their jurisdiction, but it's not happening, Captain. So a non-resident, my private irrevocable trust based in the United States of America, of a passenger car, it is not a passenger car, it is a pleasure vehicle, a private conveyance. See, how can we say this? Because by law, the owner of a thing can give it a definition unless you've registered it to somebody or something else. While my vehicle is private and I'm the only owner, nobody can make a lien on it or a claim to having ownership like they can when you register it for plates, like the state can, which gives the police the ability to then contact you for their concern on how you're using your vehicle, which is also partly there in their domain because it's been registered, they can do that. But if you pull it out of the system or when you get your vehicle and you have possession of it, you get to define it. That is by law. The owner of the thing gets to define it. So they own you if you use the word African American or white or black. Those are their words. There is no place where African America meet. That is a construct they created for U.S. citizens. You accept the slave name, you become the slave. I'm not a thing to be owned, but this thing here, this, which they also refer to as a motor vehicle, it denotes commercial activity. The word drive that they use in here in Black Law's dictionary means commercial, commerce, traffic, meaning for profit in the public, to be registered. For profit, you're making money out there on the roads. So a non-resident owner of a passenger vehicle that is currently registered in another state. So what they're really saying, it's kind of almost like a double entendre. They kind of say if you're a non-resident, but you have a passenger car, cough, cough, wink, wink, meaning you're a private, not registered to us, but you have a car that's used for driving commercial, taxable, public things that is registered in another owner's state, meaning one of the other states of the union, of the territories, of anything, which is not you. You do not have a passenger car. Now, you're not going to be on the side of the road arguing this out with the police officers. Don't do that. Don't be stupid. You can put all this in your book, your travel binder, but this is what you deal with when you're dealing with the prosecutor and the judge. And you can see their legal department on this and watch their eyes smoke. So I don't have a passenger car, and I'm not currently registered because registered, okay, it is recorded in my. See, they use the word register, we use record. They use drive, we use travel. Okay, of the home of the owner's home state. So in this case, it's the irrevocable trust based in the United States of America, so it's foreign or country, America. And that displays those plates may operate, once again, operate, that's a profession. If you're operating on somebody, you better be licensed, like a doctor, dentist, whatever else. I'm not an operator. That car in Virginia, okay, so the problem here is the word in. In specifically denotes you're in the corporation known as Virginia or state of Virginia for 6 months. You could also look at this and say, well, in the geographical area. But see, they don't own everything in the geographical area. They can't. The streets are for public and private use. So they're talking about that if you are operating, if you're see once again they said operating, right? Well, if you're operating, this means you need to be licensed. So what they're saying is if you're here in our geographical area that is commercial and yet private, public and private, and you're starting to do things like operate, meaning trying to do Uber and whatever else, you have 6 months. Now, notice they don't say that if you're here in our area physically, we control, own everything, and you will be licensed. They can't say that because that's a violation of your constitutional rights. And even if they did say that, it would still be a constitutional rights violation, and you could sue the state of Virginia for that. They only control the public or something private that you register to them without registering it in Virginia. A new resident, a new resident. So once again, here's that word, a new resident. They want you to reside, to bring your stuff over. How do we know that? Let's listen to it. A new resident who brings a passenger car, pickup, moped, motorcycle, etc., that is already registered in another state or country may operate that vehicle for the first 30 days of residency. So what are they saying here? They're saying if you move here and you start to operate and regard yourself as a U.S. citizen, you have proven residency. You've recited to the public. You brought your stuff out of the private or out of another state, and all of the states are actually foreign to each other. That's why they have their own jurisdiction, their own laws, their own things. They're all a little bit different. And then underneath them, the foundation is the de jure organic state for the private. So there's a public and private operating in parallel in the same geographical area, depending on which one you plug into. Or you resed your identity. So if you start to live there and you start to plug in, they're saying you got 30 days and then you better get registered. But once again, they're talking about a new resident, somebody who resed their identity or resided and entered their jurisdiction. So if you do that, yes. So they're saying if you come into our waters, you got 30 days. Up here, they're saying, okay, you're not exactly in our waters, but if you start to operate like you are, and you're doing passenger commercial stuff with your car, you have 6 months. Well, this isn't me. But they're telling you here, a non-resident then is completely out of their jurisdiction. So what are they really saying? They're saying if you're a non-resident and you start to do these things, then you're starting to come into our area, and we want to see you fully join in 6 months. Otherwise, what they're saying here is non-residents are exempt. Well, Wolf, it doesn't say that exactly just because it doesn't say exactly non-resident exempt. If it doesn't say it, then they don't control it. They don't administrate it. So they're telling you if you're starting to become one of them, which you're not. So as long as you keep your vehicle and you in the private and your trust, you're good. But if you start to do stuff with it that looks public, that's a public contact, and they can say, well, you're receiving the benefits, so you're one of us. That's why you want a zero interest bearing bank account for your trust or your entity or whatever else. If you receive the little interest money earned, then the government has a right to be into your bank account. You're receiving continuous public benefits and privileges. The code contains an article on reciprocity, meaning between states, non-resident operation, and several specific exemptions and limitations. Vehicles regularly, okay, so regulation. See, you thought regularly just means like normally. It does, but it also means to be regulated. So vehicles regulated and used normally in Virginia, so in their area doing business for non-pleasure business purposes may keyword here may does not say has may have to be registered. They try to do a good see. One of the things is if they don't say it specifically, okay, if they right here are not saying that all vehicles have to be, then you don't see that anywhere, do you? They can't say all vehicles. But what they can do is they can say all resident vehicles, all commercial, but they cannot say all public and private vehicles. You will not ever see that. They could try to say all public and privately registered vehicles that have been registered from the private. They can say it like that, but they can't claim every single vehicle. Think about it. If like I don't know, say the president of Uganda came here with his vehicle, you're telling me if he lives here he's here just in the private for 7 months, and they're going to say, "Well, we own your vehicle now. You have to get it registered. We're going to do it." Hell no, they ain't going to touch nothing. They know their faces will be sued off. Virginia DMV guidance mirrors those time limits. Non-residents may drive with home state plates for up to 6 months if you become, okay, so hold on, if you become gainfully employed or otherwise established residency, different rules apply. So what are they saying here? So they're basically saying you've got 6 months as a non-resident, but once again, they said may drive. Drive is commercial. So they're saying if you start to do things commercial and you've got your own private little non-resident stuff going on, you're stepping into our territory where that should be licensed because driving requires a license. I'm not driving legally. If you become gainfully employed, employed, deployed, military, admiralty jurisdiction. So though you may have a job and they use the word employee, employer, you actually are not, especially if on your employment you check off for citizenship other and put nationality as in Floridian, New Yorker, Californian. They could try to use that against you. Most of the time, they're not. It says, or otherwise establish residency, residency. Come on over. The water's fine. So they're saying if you do that, there are some different rules may apply. Apply their word commercial to come in. Separate sales, use tax exemptions for certain vehicles, government, tribal, some farm vehicles, etc. Taxation code. If you're looking at taxation exemption rather than registration exemption, consult the sales tax provision. Okay. Okay, it's kind of a recap. And then I told it, yeah, I said, no, I said, I want to see the whole code. I told it right here. I said, I want to see the whole code, and specifically 46.2-656. Says non-resident may operate temporarily without registration. But once again, they use the word operate. At no point in time could I be in Virginia and operate on a person temporarily without a registration or license. Do you understand? Do you hear it now? This is some legal department's really clever way of trying not to make it directly clear that non-residents, meaning somebody not registered in their system, do not have to comply. Doesn't mean you can speed and do whatever and go through tolls without paying or anything jazzy like that. Nope, you still need to abide by the normal rules of the road, or they will bother you, and you will not like it. So don't do stupid stuff. Got it? Good. Okay. Moving right along. Let's look at the next piece here. Hold on. Just making sure somebody outside doesn't want all the smoke. That's why I got cameras running. Multiple systems on and off location, wired and non, because people be funny. People be drinking the cray cray juice. All right. He's moseying along. All right. So let's let it read.
except as otherwise provided in this article. A non-resident owner of a passenger car which has been registered for the current calendar year in the state or country of which the owner is a resident and which at all times when operated in the Commonwealth displays the license plate or plates issued for such vehicle in the place of residence of such owner, may operate or permit the operation of such passenger car within or partly within this Commonwealth for a period of 6 months without registering the passenger car or paying any fees to the Commonwealth. If, however,
So here's the thing. Think about it. So you're telling me I'm in your area and I'm forced, because that's what they're trying to make it sound like. But remember, I'm not doing what they're saying. I'm not operating there. I'm not residing there. I don't own a passenger car.
at the expiration of such 6 months the passenger car is still in the Commonwealth, its owner shall apply for registration of the vehicle and shall pay a fee for such registration based on the time operation of the vehicle in the Commonwealth commenced.
Okay, so let's say I'm going to challenge this last part. Let's say I'm in Virginia and they pull me over, they bother me, blah blah blah. Okay, so here's how I would challenge this last part. All right, so they're saying if, however, at the expiration of the 6 months. So first of all, I'm going to say, well, if you're giving me 6 months, I'm only in my car probably an hour, maybe 15 minutes at a time. So I have not used 6 months worth of time. When does the 6 months start and when does it expire? This is how a good lawyer or attorney would challenge such things because they're not specific. So it can be dismissed for being vague. Does it start the beginning of the year? Does it start the day one that I crossed the line? Is it 2 weeks after? Does it matter if I have an apartment? Do I have to have a house? So they leave it open and hope you just fall in and give in. Then also I'd be like, I don't have a passenger car. I don't have passengers. I'm in it by myself 9 times out of 10. Is still in the Commonwealth. Well, my vehicle cannot physically get into the Commonwealth. So in order for my vehicle to be in the Commonwealth, it must then be either doing business, and I'm not, with the Commonwealth, or with somebody else registered within the Commonwealth, and I'm not. It doesn't say physically in the geographical area because the Commonwealth owns all of that. It doesn't say that because they can't do that. They can't say that. Its owner shall apply. That's commercial. I don't want to do anything commercial. I'm not interested in that. For registration, registerization, nope, I'm good. I don't want a contract. Of the vehicle and shall pay the fee for such registration based on the time of the operation. Nope. That means be licensed. I don't want to be licensed. I want to stay private. I'm not doing any operations. I don't need to register if I'm not doing any operations. Of the vehicle, once again, in the Commonwealth. Well, the Commonwealth is on paper, is it not? The Commonwealth is a corporation or a before profit entity. So, how can my vehicle or me actually be in it? It can't. I can't drive my vehicle through the piece of paper. I can't put my head through the piece of paper. If I did and I destroyed their um, document, then the Commonwealth would exist no more. Which is why you guys will not ever see their founding documents. Those are under lock and key, somewhere extra safe. You have a better chance of the government letting you see a Bigfoot riding a unicorn, playing a flute with sparkles on its ass than to see the documents of the creation of each state. 46.2-657, when registration by non-resident not required. See, they got to speak backwards on all this crazy stuff. Okay, so let's check out this one to see if this is the best code to go with.
Notwithstanding other provisions of this article, any non-resident from a state that does not require the registration of a vehicle like that owned by such non-resident when such vehicle is owned and operated by a resident of Virginia in the state in which the foreign vehicle owned or operated by such non-resident is registered, shall not be required to register such vehicle in the Commonwealth.
Shabang a bang. There it is. This is your code, Virginians, my fellow statesmen, state citizens, nationals, foreign nationals to the United States Corporation, nationals of the United States, 8 U.S.C. 1401A, and whatnot, and what forth. GPO Style Manual, Section 5.23, 8 U.S.C. 1101A, 22B, shall not be deprived of your freedoms and rights, 8 U.S.C. 1503, Cornell Law EDU. But where were they trying to get you in here? It says owned by such non-resident when such vehicle is owned and operated, once again, operated by a resident, a resident of, and when you see the word of, you're not getting the real thing. So that's why we know we're talking about Virginia, state of Virginia. So a resident of Virginia, the corporation, in the state, lowercase s, in which the foreign vehicle operated, owned and operated by such non-resident is registered, shall not be required to register. There it is. And of course, down here it says any truck, trailer, semi-weight, blah, 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 vehicle position, the title, at a speed in violation of this title. So yeah, don't speed. Okay. So 46.2-661, extension of reciprocal privileges, reciprocal, excuse me. They're basically saying that you need to contact the commissioner with the consent of the governor. So you can contact them and say, hey, I'm operating in Virginia as a non-resident, not subject by your codes and my constitutional right. I just want to let you know. If you guys are not sending your right to travel, not all of your personal right to travel information, but right to travel, like the packet I sell on Black Site 32, if you're not getting that or creating your own and sending it to your chief of police, the head sheriff, your district attorney, your secretary of state, attorney general, governor, and apparently you guys have a commissioner, send it to them as well. What are you doing? And I mean, this everybody should be doing this for every state. Everybody. Now, whether you want to send it with your name on there or anonymous, if you do right to travel, you really have an obligation for yourself and to help other people in your state doing this. This is how you guys let them know we know what our rights are and we want them. We are using them. We will use them. Work with us because that's your job, or we will demand these things. Operating vehicles in business in the Commonwealth. I'm not even going to read this one because it already gives it away. Operating business in Commonwealth. I already know this is, yeah. See, look right here. It says, motor vehicle, blah, 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 shall be required to register. Yeah. The words already gave it away. Operating business in Commonwealth. So if you guys aren't seeing this how I read this, it's because you don't understand things on the legal level. There's a difference between reading the words and knowing the words on the legal level. Okay. So that's it. The rest of this basically just goes into if you need a temporary exemption because you're going to reside or register it, but you're from somewhere else. You don't have to. There's no law, especially positive law. This is a code, which they call a law, but it's not actually law. It's a code for their internal business. The state of Virginia is a business. Businesses and the state cannot create positive law. They can try, but so won already in federal court and Supreme Court. Anywhere where they try to take away your rights, they can be sued. Anywhere where the state, who has a governmental EIN, does business, which they do, they are reduced to being nothing more than a corporation. So even though these states have, yeah, their governments, not taking that away from them, they have a governmental EIN, but they're really operating as a business. And anywhere they're doing business and making profit, which they all are, I don't remember the actual uh, court case where it said that, which makes it law, but it states that when they do that, they reduce themselves to being nothing more than a corporation and they can be regarded as such. And they cannot take away your rights, freedoms, or liberties in the process, no matter what they write in here. Read the law. Read the court cases for yourself. Whereas you know a good book? We'll back out because we're done with that anyway. Shazam. So for all the trolls out there who don't know, here's what you're going to want to do. Here's for the police officers. Here's for the lawyers and the attorneys. An introduction to constitutional law. Does this burn your souls just like the Bible? And you guys are and they're the demons. Heal, be healed. Thou have offended the constitutional law of these United States of America, Constitution 4, United States of America. Die, demon, die. This is only one of the books. This has the top 100 Supreme Court cases everybody should know. What's in here is the actual law. There is no law higher than the Constitution other than God. If you believe in God, that is it. That's the highest. God, private law, common law, then all the rest of the jazz. Those are top dogs. They rule on these things in the federal court, Supreme Court. That's the law. Problem is that it's really kind of considered almost like common law because really it's common out there, casual for it to be read. And you should know it, but no one's going to read through all the court cases and whatever else. I don't even read through all of them. Good God. Good God. But the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, and said court cases are, in fact, if they are ruled, you have to keep this in mind too. Let's give it up for the trolls. You can have a court case, and just because they talk about it doesn't mean that it has been accepted that this is the law. But when they rule in a court case, like on right to travel, tons of cases out there, yes, you have that as a right to do. That becomes the law, the supreme law. However, the problem is if you don't overstand that information and you try to operate, keyword, your vehicle and you're driving a keyword, and your vehicle and everything else are registered, keyword, to them, and you haven't created your own state, your own entity, your own micronation, your own whatever else, then they're like, well, which side are you on? Ours, yours, what? Pick something. Now, what do you think about it also this way? No, not even think about it. Know this. Before the states created that benefit and privilege, You do know that people were using their vehicles privately, right? Didn't even have to have plates. There was no emissions. So what happened? Was there a sweeping law that says there's a positive law that everybody has to be commercial and public so that the states can regulate them? No, the states were like, "Hey, Gov, we want to offer this benefit and privilege. This is what we're going to do." So the government's like, "Yeah, go ahead. We don't care." Well, what they didn't really realize at the time is that the states were going to then lure people into driving publicly. Look up the word drive in Black Law's dictionaries. Now, if you get the newer ones, they hide it a little bit better. Look up drive, and it just says any kind of propellant of the motor vehicle, blah, blah, blah. And so employed. Okay, so then you look up the word employed. And then employed says for commerce, commercial. So what happened was is when everybody was doing everything for free, their vehicles and whatever else, some people were getting into accidents, and people were like, hey, you're going to pay for that, and they would run off or whatever else. So they're like, we need to have a way of tracking these things. And what if I want to haul ice and whatever else, or dangerous chemicals and gases and liquids and you know whatever? And they were like, well, you need to register that vehicle into ours because then we're going to teach you how to operate that vehicle properly and safely. And they should. Those are the people. So they put up street signs to keep people safe. And to protect the public. All right, there we go. We're sinking in. Work with me. There we go. All right. Now, so that's the whole thing. So, so trying not to laugh. Um, they realized that people moving big trains and trucks and tractors are dangerous if not professionally learned, taught, tutored, employed. All those are their words. So you were then so taught, and they gave you a license, and you learned, and if you didn't operate it correctly, they would take your license away. Speed too much, take your license away. They were never supposed to be able to do that to the national operating, excuse me, oh, dirty word, uh, utilizing their private conveyance for pleasure. See, if you're using your vehicle from home to work, work to the grocery store, to your friend's house, to the bar, home, back to the bar, home, to the liquor store, okay, whatever. That's all private. There's no need to regulate that per se, but that doesn't mean you can just disobey the rules of the road. Those still apply. Don't speed, don't cut anybody off, use your turn signals, etc. So that's it. That is it. So, welcome to the world of Right to Travel. If this is your first time here, hit that bell like subscribe. Now, before you go and decide to do anything, understand I am not responsible for your personal experience. These are my experiences. Do your own research. I'm not stating any of this as fact. It's entertainment and informational purposes. With that being said, if you're going to do it, be prepared that you may be bothered by a sovereign police officer who does not overstand constitutional, private, federal law. He's going to try to operate by state codes, quasi law, which is really their law. It is a law. We'll give it some, but it's a law for people who are operating as a registered member of their community, not every single person. But the rules of the road do apply to everybody, public or private, utilizing these public, which can be used for private use too, roadways, highways. So unless it's a completely, truly private road, they're open to the public and the private. A lot of the states would love to just say they own the roads, but the problem with that is that they're using our money. And the government also gives a lot of states money. And the government says, look, you can have your speed limits to a certain degree, you can do these things, but if we're giving you money, these roads are open to all people, public or private. The state's like, oh, yeah, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, we'll take that 52 million for the roads from the people's money. They administrate jurisdiction over those registered to them. Those are the ones they can regulate. The other people, you are supposed to, as a private citizen or foreign national, regulate yourself as a non-belligerent, non-combatant. But the moment you can't, you cause public controversy, a crime, or you endanger public safety or yourself, they will regulate you. That is their job. That's it. Now, remember, if you're going to do this, be prepared. You may be bothered. You may have to matter of fact, if you're going to do this, I highly recommend you get my right to travel pack and the cop stop judge letter so you know how to be prepared, what to put in there ahead of time. I work on prevention, not help me get out from being locked up. And as somebody who has been there more than once until I got it right, you don't want to experience that. But you just may, because you may have a sovereign police officer overstep and you need to know what to do and you need to be prepared to have you or somebody of your having your stuff ready to go, have your paperwork ready, because it may be ticketed, towed, you may be arrested, et cetera, et cetera. And if you want more information on how to deal with right to travel for yourself, go to www.jamesclovett.com and look for the right to travel streaming video over there. All right. Once again, we are not responsible for your goods, bads, or your uglies. You're an adult, or you should be. And if you're not, these videos aren't for you. If you're a troll, you can kiss the crack of my I hope that you do your own research and realize that you should be a better person. To the rest of you guys, hey, you guys are awesome. Stay positive out there. Stay healthy, stay warm as the weather is starting to change. And that is all. So enjoy, as my governor told me after sending him my right to travel packet, enjoy your travels to the state. We have no statutory authority over you. In other words, hey, Mr. Lovett, we're watching. Don't cause controversy, and we're cool. Regulate yourself so we don't have to regulate us. Whoop that ass. It's all good, guys. Don't take it personal. It's just business. All right. That being the case, you guys have a great night. Take care, take care, take care of each other. Love yourself because no one's going to do it better than you. To you. Talk to you later.